Hello and welcome to this Crewe Town Council meeting. The first item on the agenda is to receive apologies for absence.
We have apologies from councillors Angia, Clark, Cosby, Houston, Minshall, Morrissey, Messon, Buckley and Palin.
Thank you. Item 2 is to note declarations of members' interests. Do any member have any declarations as they relate to the agenda?
On showing chair.
Item 3 is to confirm and sign the minutes of the Crewe Town Council meeting held on the 4th of October 2022. Could I please have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes as a true record?
Sorry.
We have a seconder? All in favour? Against? Any abstentions?
Carried, chair.
Next is public participation. A period not exceeding 15 minutes for members of the public to ask questions or submit comments. Do you have any public comments or questions?
No.
Item 5 is to receive updates from committee chairs in relation to meetings held since the previous Crewe Town Council on 4th of October. A. First is the Finance and Governance Committee. Can I please ask Councillor Jill Rhodes, as chair of that committee, to propose any recommendations?
We have 3 recommendations. First of all is to approve the reviewed governance documents as recommended by Finance and Governance, which is training and development, internet, email and social media policy, volunteer policy and financial risk assessment. The second is to approve the risk management scheme and risk register, and the third is to approve the interim internal audit, all of which have been circulated prior to the meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for these proposals? Thank you, Councillor Coidy. All in favour? Against?
That's
Carried.
unanimous.
The Operations and Improvement Committee Chair is Councillor Messent,
Who isn't available?
who isn't
tonight.
available.
Who's the vice chair? I can't remember. No, no vice chair present. Okay. You might want to seek any members of that committee to propose.
I'll propose it,
Yeah.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah, as a member of that committee. And that is to increase the available town centre lighting budget to £15,000, utilising up to £9,000 from the ground budget.
We have a seconder for that proposal. Thank you, Councillor Coidy. All in favour?
Excuse me.
There are no recommendations for consideration from the marketing and events and planning committees, so the minutes from those meetings can be accepted as received and noted. Next is the Community Plan Committee, and the chair is Councillor Minshall.
We'll call on Councillor Coyle as the deputy chair.
Yeah, as vice chair, reviewment of £16,000 from the unallocated committee budget of 470, 476, 7 and 4769 for the purpose of winter response, support and services to those in Crewe affected by the heating and cost of living crisis in Crewe. And another item on consideration is that the review that the fresh community plan amendments are approved, which we're in the pack as well.
Do we have a seconder for those proposals? Thank you, Councillor. All in favour? Carried. The Personnel Subcommittee Chair is Councillor Jill Rhodes. Could you please propose your committee's recommendations?
There is only one recommendation, and that is that the council staffing structure is approved.
All in favour?
Carried.
No, thank you. Item 6 is to note any updates from members having attended external meetings. Are there any updates from members?
Three.
Councillor Gill Rose.
I just want a brief update on the town board. The town board meets monthly. It has taken a very difficult decision recently, because of the inflation building costs of something like 20%. It's decided to cancel, or it's going to ask the government to cancel one of its projects, the Lyceum Powerhouse, and that money will then be used to support the other projects to ensure that those projects come through in a timely manner. So that's the only update I've got. Thank you.
Councillor White.
I chaired the Town Board Green and Blue Infrastructure Forum, at which we were presented the proposals to get feedback on the idea of a mini Holland, which is making livable streets more pleasant environment, like Holland, between Mill Street and Church Lane. The discussion centred around that was too big an area, and we wanted to shrink it down. But it all depends on the response from the general public. It's a very, very easy consultation. You just go to Commonplace, Active Travel Group, commonplace.is, drop a pin where you think there's an issue on your street, and it could be uprooted trees, it could be lack of a bench, it could be that you want a little park there, or things like that. It's just to get a general feel. My interest in this is the last time that there was a similar type of commonplace consultation, only 17 people responded, and as a result, the proposal was dropped. And if we don't get people to respond to it, it's not about positive or negative, it's just about what you think about your area, what you like. We won't be able to draw down further government funding. So this is the first start.
Thank you. Councillor Cladis.
Can I just ask Councillor White for some clarification? Is that just for Mini Holland, or is it for all areas?
It's the proposed area borders on Victoria Street to the north, Nantwich Road a bit further to the south, Mill Street and Church.
Is that triangle that you put in?
Yes, but that is too big because you wouldn't be able to make a difference over such a big area. But of course, it depends. If I know Church Lane School has put it out on their newsletter, so you might get that. It's slightly overweighted towards those, but I've been talking to parents outside Wistleton Academy, and they were all in favour of the
Thank you.
Councillor Cladis did have like a look for.
Oh, sorry, sorry, Councillor Cladis.
Yes, I'm not sure if these are external meetings, I'm presuming so. I attended a meeting at Macclesfield Town Hall, which was about the homeless provisions that we've got. And it was a very interesting meeting with all the charities who help the homeless, but also the supported accommodation providers as well, the people who help follow on. So it was a really interesting meeting, and we did get quite a lot out of there. Hopefully, looking forward, we might be able to help the homeless a little bit more. So I didn't know if that was applicable to say.
Yeah.
And another meeting was I had a meeting with HS2, so about mitigations. I put forward a petition to mitigate against some of the things that are going to happen. So I had a lovely meeting with HS2 where they agreed with some of my proposals. I was really pleased about that. So hopefully some good news for Crewe.
John Roach.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, it's just to give an update on the meetings I've attended in my capacity as a council. I attended the mini hall meeting of the Transport, Green and Blue, which is an subcommittee of the town board. I attended several of those meetings, but last Friday, many of them, it was an interesting and diverse set of views on that. So, secondly, I went to a public meeting along with other councillors to the Nantwich Action Group. It was a public meeting held at St Andrew's Church. I attend those meetings as a councillor. I don't hold any official roles on that. Obviously, being a councillor myself, and it was not too well attended. However, there was lots of interesting questions, and a colleague here was present and. And I've also attended as I'm a committee member on the Crewe South Alleyways Group, which is an action group that's trying to improve the alleyways in a particular area of Crewe South, with some success, I may add. However, it's an uphill battle, but nevertheless we'll keep trying. So I've attended those 3 meetings of the past as a council.
As a council.
Yeah.
Item 7 is to note, consider and approve payments from the 1st of the 9th 22 to 31st of the 10th 22 to the value of £106,441.56 and spend to date as shown in the attached report as recommended by the Finance and Governance Committee. Councillor Jill Rhodes, as chair of that committee, can I ask you to make that proposal, please?
Yes, I'd like to propose that we agree to the payments.
Do I have a seconder for that proposal? Thank you, councillor. All in favour? Item 8 is to consider the Finance and Governance Committee recommended draft council budget for 23-24.
Well, members, this is the conclusion of many coats of looking at. We've had budget discussions since July, and the Finance and Governance Committee has made a recommendation of version 9 with its final amendments to this council for adoption for the budget of 23-24 and onward demand for precept. Now, the bottom line of that budget, as I think you all know, is that against the push of inflationary pressures, including cost of employment, the council has presented a draft budget with an increase in precepts totaling 3.47%, which indicates £2.85 a year increase on a Band D property and as low as £1.64 on a Band A property a year. And that is against inflation pressures in door figures. So I think you found a very pragmatic and sustainable way of demonstrating delivery.
Is councillor Rowan?
I'd like to propose the draft budget, but I'd also like to make a few comments. As a council, we're very aware that many of our residents are suffering from the cost of living crisis, where we've seen energy bills doubling, sometimes a bit more than that, where we've seen food prices increasing. So it is really, we've tried to have the minimum increase possible. We, as a council, have faced the same sort of inflationary pressures that the rest of the town has faced. We've had a wage agreement of 8%. Now that is, fortunately we've only got small staff, but we only budgeted for 2%. So again, you know, it's been a major increase, which is probably well deserved, but an increase that we were not expecting. You know, our cost of heating and lighting has gone up. And currently inflation in the country is running at around 11%. And we are suffering from an increase in buying cost of purchasing things, just as everybody else is. So we have, and if you look at the minutes, you can see that every committee has really looked at, do they need to spend that money? Can they do something different? But we're also aware that as council, we have helped those people who are in need, who are vulnerable, and who will need our support through the winter and possibly next year as well, because I can't see this inflationary situation changing very much. So we've minimised the rise in precept as much as we possibly can. We planned for it to be 0.5% in the MTFS, the 4-year MTFS, but unfortunately, circumstances have meant that we've had to make a bigger increase than we wanted. So for Band D, it's £2.85, which I think Dennis will tell me is £6 a week. And for a Band A, it's £1.64. So that, again, we have kept our preset rise to the minimum possible. And, you know, ideally, we would have liked to go with what we planned, but we can't. So, unfortunately, but we have kept budgets to a minimum, and we have, in some cases, we haven't increased budgets, and in some cases, we've actually made minor cuts to, you know, accomplish this slight increase. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Rose.
I'd like to second that.
Seconded by councillor Stone Francis. All in favour, sorry.
Carried, Chair.
Carried. Nine. Now at item 9, it is recommended that council considers a resolution under section 1 of the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960 to exclude the public and representatives of the press from meeting during consideration of item 14 in confidential nature of the business being transacted. Can I please have a consideration for a proposal for this?
I'll propose, but I'm a bit confused.
I'll second.
Thank you, councillor Rose.
Yeah, I think there's a typo there, it might be item 10.
Oh, item 10, sorry.
That's why I'm confused.
They them, not me. I should have read it properly. That's my
I wasn't
fault.
expecting too many people to listen to us.
I thought we had 3 items being hidden.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You've got pros and second, you just need all in favour.
Oh, right, thank you. We have item 10.
No, you're not all in favour.
Oh, sorry.
You've got some hands already
I'm
showing.
completely confused.
There we go.
Favour.
I think that's carried,
Thank you,
Chair.
that's carried. Thank you. Sorry about that.